Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Artist Podcast. I'm Boris, cartoonist, teacher, podcaster, etc. I'm going to talk about Wrinkle in Time, the book and the movie. Now listen, let's start with the book. Now listen, I'm not a young adult, so I understand that. So now I'm 33, so this book is not really for me. But although, what I'll do is I am trying to catch up on the classics of literature, so I consider this one of the classics. And what I'll do is I'll go through the notes I've made about the book, and when I'm going to talk about the story, like read the book, I'm just going to talk about what it evoked for me, like what ideas came up when I was reading it, what are the conversations I was having with myself that I want to share, and so on. So, like I said, I'm not a young adult, at least not anymore, but in my journey to catch up on the classics of literature, I feel like I achieved a new milestone with A Wrinkle in Time. By the way, like I said, which was also adapted into a movie. First, I'm writing this part, actually, like the notes I'm reading. I wrote these parts uh, right after I finished reading the book, and at this point, I've not seen the movie, so I just wanted to do that. But I'm actually recording this podcast, of course. I've read and watched the movie. To be honest, there's no doubt the quality of the book, or the quality of the writing. The Newbery Medal proves it, and actually, so just a little bit like I don't know the artistic value of the awards, but I know that Newbery through because Neil Gaiman, who's one of my other favorite authors, or my favorite people around, he won Newbery medal for his book, if I'm not mistaken, the Graveyard Book, I think. And yeah, I know that it's one of the most prestigious awards you can win as a author for young adults and children. So, like I said, I'm just not the audience for this book, but I feel and also since I know that a movie has been made from this book, when I was reading it, there was this moment. It was a different reading experience because I was reading it, and it's really well written, and it's simple, like of course for people to understand. The author paints the picture with words, but at the same time, my brain was trying to figure out and is sort of looking forward to see how the particular scene or moment in the story is going to be captured in or translated into big screen, like in movie. Um, this is, I think, the dilemma of reading the classics. There is a reason why they are legendary, right? Like it's because, I don't mean only in the books. I think I have a similar feeling about movies. Um, like there's a reason why things are legendary, right? Like they are called classics. It's because people have borrowed from that material from so many things, and then so you are exposed to the, let's say, the remnants or the influence of those classics, and when you actually get to read the source material or the original source where all these ideas come from, um, they don't seem fresh. So that's the first feeling I had. I mean, of course, I love it's a really beautiful story. I'm just saying, it's like, I don't know if, for example, if I have to take a example in the movie realm, if I show someone who's now maybe 15 years old, someone now who's 18 years old, sorry, um, Blade Runner, Ridley Scott's Blade Runner. I mean, I don't know if he would be able to understand how much of a, how appreciated that movie is, right? So, and he might look at it and just say, yeah, I don't see why people like it. I mean, it's, yeah. So there is sort of, I think there is not all art is timeless. Is what I'm trying to say. Like there are some things that either gets old, or in this case of Wrinkle in Time, I think these ideas have been borrowed so many times in other Disney movies, movies in general, or comic books and other young adult novels, that when you actually get to see the original, it just seems, oh, I yeah, it feels familiar. So I like the book. I was engaged until the end, and I understand that Wrinkle Time is part of a series of book, not a standalone story. The world building, the characters were unique, and there is a mystique feeling about characters, which I think. Um, I mean, actually, I'm reading my notes after watching the movie, and I'm reading the notes that I've written before watching. So I think, yeah, when I just after I read, I really felt that the mystique, that feeling about the characters will not translate well in the visual medium of film, and I'm in a way right, because uh, which is why the books are so cool. But I can see why they decide to do it. I mean, why they decide to adapt. And also, I feel like it's structured to be a movie. There's a clear third act where the main character has to confront the thing that has been covering the earth, and yeah. So what does all mean? I think the aim of this story is clear: is to expand the reader's imagination beyond science and reality. Um, the only way good authors do, through metaphors, which makes you pay attention to the real thing right in front of you. I mean, I had a short conversation about this with my friend with whom I get to have deep conversations about. So, you can say, like, why do these artists, these poets, these people who are storytellers, they always use metaphors? Why don't they just release a paper saying, wait, listen, this is good, this is bad, this is what you should do, and these are the steps to get to that point. And I think so. And I'm also learning these stuff. So I think, like, using a metaphor for something somehow makes you think about the thing they're referring to in a more deep way than if they just told you. Like, it somehow feels like you have to work for it. So I think that's why metaphors exist, and I think metaphors still exist. So I have to say, I was disappointed. I was sort of disappointed how short and simple the ending was, using the literary trope of love can conquer all, like, the kind of statement. Um, okay, yeah. So, and again, maybe when this book was released, which I think was in the 1960s, um, this might have been like really like fresh. But now that idea of like love can like solve all problems, or love can conquer all kind of statement is taken so many times that it sort of feels like a literary trope. Um, so yeah, what do they? I mean, and also about that, like I was thinking, well, what do they mean when people say love conquers all? So let's talk about that. What does that mean when? I mean, they say that even when people haven't really figured out what exactly love is, right? Like, I mean, there are people over generations who have like debated and over the definitions of love, but it's well, love is certainly not something that comes with a specification, right? But the definition in most stories seems to be the one Robin Williams character in Good Will Hunting says to the character played by Matt Damon in one of my all-time favorite scenes, in the park scene in Good Will Hunting. And this happens in the story where Meg is asked to go and save her brother, and she's weak, she's scared, but it gets resolved quickly. And she's scared, and she still does it because, so, like Robin Williams says, like, you love, I mean, you I mean, he doesn't use it for love, but it's really when you love something more than yourself, it's real love, I think. So, and she goes to save her brother even if she's weak and she's not completely sure that she can do it, but she does it anyway. Right. Another interesting thing is, so I was listening to the Fat Man Beyond podcast, which is hosted by Kevin Smith, director Kevin Smith, and Mark Bernard, and writer. And Mark Bernard is super smart. I mean, so I don't know. It was I just listened to it yesterday, so I just wanted to. It just is staying in my mind, and it's so beautiful the way he put it. So because in the podcast, actually, like, people can get to ask them questions. So someone asked, like, what lessons would you want children of your children or people from next generation want to learn from comic books, from superheroes, and or fiction in general. And Mark Bernard said, yeah, it's like there's a reason why the best superhero. I mean, we love the best superheroes. They represent. It's not really how they look or um, uh, what they do exactly, but it's what they represent in the overall, like, scheme of things. And, like, heroism, like when we talk about heroism, it's not courage. Actually, courage comes a lot, right? So courage, he said. So Mark Bernard, I'm quoting Mark Bernard, and he said, like, courage is not absence of fear, like, what other than, like, which, so a lot of people might think that, like, they think that, oh, I am afraid, so I'm really I don't know, I'm really scared, so I can't do this. Actually, yeah, courage is not the absence of fear, like, but courage is like when you are scared, but you feel that it's important, and you know that it's good, and you know that it's going to help you help others. And it's when you're scared and you do it anyway, that's courage, right? So, and I don't know, I was just when I was going through the notes now for the podcast, it just reminded me to quote that. And yeah, so that's just great. So um also the fact that, for example, as a guy who left his country, so I was born and raised in India, and I left India after high school, so now when I was 18, 19, 18. Um, it's the, whenever, you've probably heard the story of Joseph Campbell's, like, hero's journey, where like, the main character goes on a journey, learns something, and then, like, comes back with knowledge to help others. So the idea of going far from your house, which is also the theme of Wrinkle in Time, the idea of going far from your house to understand your house, or at least miss your house, is not a new one, right? This answers the question: why don't just people write what they want, like I said? So through their art, why paint when you can write a paragraph explaining how you felt and how you want the viewer to feel? Of course, there are obvious things, like the limitations of language. I mean, yes, language can help us express ourselves, but language is limiting. Like, I mean, just take the example when you're speaking. When you're speaking with someone, you tend to use your hands. Like, why do you need your hands if you're speaking with words, right? So somehow you know that what you're saying is not enough. You need something, other things to communicate the depth of what you're saying. Okay, so now going back to my notes. So yeah, like I said, I believe there's something special from an audience perspective to figure out what the author meant. It somehow makes you reflect upon the real things which are referred to in a given work of art. So like I said, I'm a teacher who was a student, and when I was a student, let's say in Spanish class, when I didn't know the meaning of a word, I would look it up myself as opposed to asking the teacher. And now, since now I'm a teacher and I'm teaching English and French, I do the same thing. I ask the student, before taking their phone and looking for the meaning of the word in English, I ask the student for a moment to think about it. Just try to, so if, for example, if they read a sentence and they say, can you please tell me what this means? And they say a word, for example. And I say, so before I tell you, like, just try to replace that word with something that would that would make sense for the sentence to work. And then they usually get close, and I give them some more clues, and they get it. So, and I mean, I really believe that, that making you work for that makes you get it, and I think remember it better. So, okay, so, and okay, now going back to my notes, I don't know how imagination works exactly, especially when it comes to a young adult, but I feel that the world always needs imaginators, even if it's I don't know if it's in that word, but if thinker is a job, then imaginator should be a job too. I mean, think of compassion. Imagination to put yourself in someone else's shoes is an important part of it. And we need stories like this, A Wrinkle in Time, and many more, and artists to keep expanding people's vision for the life they can create for themselves. So, yeah, I know it sucks that I don't actually go into the details of what goes on into the book, but I explain rather what it evoked for me, and also explaining someone's writing is like just telling you the story would not be paying justice to the book itself. So go read it. Also, explaining someone's writing is like describing music. It doesn't make sense. So, and of course, if you're young adult, or you have a young adult, if you have young adult children, they should read this book and many others to keep one firm foot on the secure reality and one foot or the always exciting realm of imagination. So, and it's like, for example, the way I live in the world realm of imagination is through drawing. So, um, and that actually helped me a lot and still does. So now what I'm going to do is that. So those are the ideas or notes I've taken for the book. Now, so this is a new experimental thing I'm going to do, which is so I have the Wrinkle in Time movie just lined up. Of course, it's going to be muted. I'm not. I mean, this is not a live commentary, so I'm not going to go through I'm not going to play the movie and then do the. So the movie is like 1 hour and 40 minutes or something. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to like skip through like the scenes without the sound, just so that to give you what I thought about the movie. Now, I've I could have like when I watched the movie, I could have stopped and took notes, but I just thought maybe it will be fun to just watch the movie and then just go through the different scenes in the movies and just say what I thought of it. And also, I think I'm a visual guy, so I'm hoping that just rewatching the movie might remind me again the ideas I had when I watched the movie for the first time. So, so yeah, let's. I just have it lined up here, so I'll just pull play, get play, and so of course the movie is directed by Ava DuVernay, and it's produced by Disney, so it's a Disney movie, and so the story, the movie starts in a different way than the book, of course, and I think it was a really clear. So when it started like this, it was really clear. So I mean, it was really good. So, and I love Chris Pine. Is just charming. Is Chris Pine should be in everything, I think so. And it shows the interest she has for physics and science, and then they get into the first scene of which is depicted in the movie, and I think they did a really great job of doing it. And we get to introduce to Charles Wallace, and then what like messed me up was it was so cliche, the way they portray the school children, and also people like the it is a people just say out loud everything they're thinking, and usually people don't think like that. Like this is, and so so if I understand correctly, I think this movie was a flop because I think he didn't make a lot of money, and I think they were trying to do a sequel, but they couldn't do it because it didn't make enough money to have traction. So yeah, so the first thing that threw me off was the way people talked. Like they were just saying everything out loud. People just don't talk like that. And then what I think on the opposite side, like what the movie did right was, of course, casting. I think casting is great. Um, the the moment when they start going into the other universe is actually was really well done. I think especially when they go meet Zach Galifianakis. I never know how to pronounce his name. He plays a medium, and when they go to see the medium, that I just love that part where it's sort of it almost feels like a promotion for meditating, because he says like you need to find the balance, you need to like think about so you can try to figure out what like to be balanced, basically. Like you need to be balanced in order to find balance in the world, I guess. So, and you see how tough it is. It's just I'm watching the movie and at the same time I'm trying to speak, so it's a little bit difficult. So the special effects are sometimes great, sometimes not great. And so we see that Meg is really smart. She, because she's been interested in science because of her father, and she actually proves to be really smart, and she knows how physics works, and physics work. The other thing I would say, like, I know this is an actor's choice, but I don't remember the actor who played Meg, which is fine because IMDb is our friend. So let's I'll just check it while I'm talking. So so the way she played it was a little bit less. The way she played it was more likable than in the book. I don't know, in the book I felt like she was a little bit adamant. She was a little bit she was not open for change, but here like she's a little bit, and also like in the movie I think they had to do it. There is this loving relationship between Calvin and Meg, and but which I didn't get in the book. I think they were when I read the book, they were just children hanging out, and so let me type A Wrinkle in Time, and yeah. So what's her name? Okay. So her name is Storm Reed. Okay, so the way Storm Reed played Meg is actually, I would say, more likable than the way I picture her, or the way she felt in the book. So I think, yeah, like they said, the world building is great. I think the way, I mean, when I read the book, I think I visualized what they've been. I think that in terms of visualization, like the production design is great. So that was amazing. Like especially the scene with the man with the red eyes, I think was really good. It was played by Michael Pena, and instead of doing the exact same scene, they sort of changed it, and I think, yeah, I liked it. So there is this moment where, I mean, of course, like I said, the casting is great, so the performance is great, but there's a moment when actually Chris Pine's character like meets Meg after a long time in within the another universe, or within the wrinkle in time, to take the movie. And I thought that scene should have been more impactful than it actually was for some reason. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe the setup, when they set up the characters, it was not. What I'm saying is that we don't care about the characters enough. That's what I'm saying, and I think that's what ultimately made the film fail. So, but other than that, so there is this section, of course, because of they have to put everything in one movie. They there is a part where in the book where they get rescued from some creatures by some creatures who actually give them hospitality for a moment, and that is like that's not shown in the movie. So they just go directly into to fighting the it, and I think it was, yeah, and like I said, like there is um, there's this really, I don't know, simple thing where, and I have to, so, but it did make me want to watch Eva DuVernay's other movies, because if you remotely follow Geek News, she's going to direct the New Gods movie, and I think so the last time I checked, she was co-writing the script with Tom King. Tom King is a comic book writer, and he did Miracle Man, and sorry, Mr. Miracle. Yeah, I think it was. I mean, it's like I said, like the book was great, but it was not fresh because those ideas have been already dealt with or have already been shown in other mediums, other stories. And the movie is underwhelming because I think the characters, the characters have great chemistry. The casting is great, but it's just we didn't they didn't give us enough time or enough moments to actually care about the characters. And but otherwise, it was a really like enjoyable movie. I mean, there was um, there was no moment when you said, "Oh, I mean, I just want to skip this part." I mean, I just watched like the full all the way through. So yeah, that was great. So that's what I so like I said, I just wanted to go through the movie just to remind me of the stuff that I had to say, like, and I just went through quickly through the scenes, and so like I said, yeah, there was a sweet spot in the movie which I had hope like would continue, but then I think they were maybe constrained by time, or they wanted to rush to the ending and so on. So and that I think ended up affecting the movie negatively on overall. But I mean, I don't know, like adaptations are difficult, and I'm really glad that this adaptation sort of put that book in the front shelf in the library, and made me pick up that book again. So that was great. So what else can I say? I think that's it. So this episode, I just wanted to dedicate to A Wrinkle in Time, the book and the movie, and the things that it evoked, and the ideas I've thought about when I read the book. And like I said, I have to say the book is better. So the book had certainly had more impact on me than the movie. So, and like I said, it's my thing with adaptation is that I'm never against adaptations, and because even if the adaptation is not good or is not as good as the source material, you still have the source material. The book is still there. So go pick up the book, read it, and share it. And yeah, so if you like this episode, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. This is Boris for Artist Podcast, signing off.